Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys again to another show. And today I got a few things that I want to cover. In this episode, I'm going to be covering the game last night between the Clippers and the Mavericks. I'm going to be talking about some things that I saw in that game, going forward into these playoffs. But before I get into that, I want you guys to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. And also make sure you hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, if you want to listen to this podcast, you can also check it out on Spotify. We're going to put the link in the description below. And for the people that are interested to listen to it on iTunes, that will be activated or active very soon. So once that's live, we're going to let you guys know. And then for sure, I'm going to tell you guys in the videos that we do. So today, I just want to focus on this game. Now, also, we know that there's pretty much, I think, 1 day left in the NBA for games. No, 2 days, today and tomorrow. But we know that the Clippers are going to be playing the Mavs in the first round. So we're going to be doing some videos on that. And then also, I want to introduce something going into the playoffs where we can try to find a way to vote on some games that you guys may want me to cover from day to day, because you know there are going to be so many games happening in the playoffs, and obviously I can't watch all the games. I'm only one person. So I'm sure you guys and the audience are going to have more interest in some games than others. So we're trying to come up with a way in which we can cover games that you guys want to see the most, so I can do some commentary on that. Also, I think depending on how the season ends, we're also going to do a playoff bracket prediction that we're going to probably release this weekend. If not on Sunday, then we're probably going to release it on Monday, because the playoffs begin on the 17th, which is on Monday. So we're definitely going to try to make sure we get that out. And I'm going to do a complete sort of bracket breakdown, a complete prediction for who I think is going to get to the NBA championship. And then I may even pick a champion at the end of it, but I'm going to do each conference. I just want to know what the final seeds are going to be, at least in the Western Conference, to know who's going to be that number 8 seed. I don't know if there still can be some movement in the top seeds in the Western Conference, because looking at the current standings in the West, it looks like some teams can still move, like the Thunder can still move. The Rockets can still move. In between the 4, 5, and 6 seed. I think the Mavs are a lock for number 7. The Clippers clinched for number 2. The Lakers are number 1. So we know 3 of the spots already. We're trying to figure out what the 8th seed is going to be, and if there's going to be some movement between the 4, 5, and 6 seed. Once we know that, then we're going to put out a bracket. So we got a lot of exciting things we have. We're planning for you guys on the way. We're just trying to figure out the best way to go about it, and also the most effective way, so that, we don't get burnt out in the process and content quality dips along the way. So that's something we're definitely going to be working towards in the coming days. Now, let's just get into the breakdown of this particular game here. So I watched this game, and the first things that I noticed in the game are Patrick Beverley was not available for the Clippers, and Montrezl Harrell was not available. Now, Montrezl Harrell is already in the bubble. I think when he got there, he needed to quarantine for about 4 days, I believe. I think he got there a few days ago, all right? So I'm not sure whether or not he's going to play the last game, because the Clippers only have one more game left on their schedule, which is on Friday. I believe it's the last game of the season for them. They've already clinched the number 2 seed, so they're not playing for anything in particular. Now, he may play. Doc Rivers may elect for him to play. I think it's good for him to get a game under his belt. It's a shame that of the 8 available games that were available to all the teams in this restart, Montrezl Harrell wasn't able to play any of them. But we all know the reason why that is, because he had to attend to a family emergency. So sometimes that's just how life is. Sometimes things happen, and we have to just roll with the punches and just adjust and adapt. So I'm not sure whether or not he'll play the final game on Friday. If he does, fantastic. The season ends on Friday. It'll be good to just get one game under his belt. but I don't think he will be in the best shape in the first round when he's going against the Mavs. But I think probably by the second round is when he's probably going to get his legs under him. So that's just my opinion on Montrezl Harrell. Now, needless to say, though, going into this game, okay, let me get back into it. Going into this game, Paul George, okay, prior to the lockdown, Paul George was averaging, oh my goodness, do I have his stats here? All right, let me bring up Paul George's stats. Okay, prior to the lockdown, Paul George was averaging about 21 points a game. Here it is. Yeah, 21.1 points a game, let me say. He was getting you about 5 rebounds and 3.9 assists. He was playing roughly under 30 minutes. He's averaging 29.6 minutes a game. He was shooting 44% from the floor. Now, prior to the lockdown, he was shooting around 38% from the three. Okay, and he was shooting around in the high 80s from the free throw line and getting you about 1.4 steals a game. Now, in the Orlando bubble, since the restart, Paul George is averaging 25.5 points a game and is shooting well over 50% from three. 50% from three in 7 games. So what I was telling people earlier in the season, especially people that felt that Pascal Siakam was a better basketball player than Paul George. Pascal Siakam is not better than Paul George. Paul George is an elite wing defender. He is one of the top defenders in the league, and especially at his position. If you watched the game last night, Paul George in different stretches was playing hellacious defense. The guy understands how to play angles. He has a lot of lateral quickness. He has quick hands. His defensive IQ, or let's say his defensive awareness, is off the charts. And Paul George is one of the best players in the world. He's averaging 25.5 and shooting 50% from the three. So obviously you can see when he's a healthy player, he's a completely different player. Prior to the lockdown, remember guys, PG had only played 41 games this season. 42, because I think he took off one game. 42 of the available 62 games. So Paul George, the reason he was underperforming was because he wasn't healthy. Now that he's healthy, you're getting a nightly dose of Paul George's ability to perform at a high level. Now, going into the game, I liked a lot of things. Let me just say this. The Clippers played a very slow tempo, which I liked. Why did I like that? I like that because in the playoffs, the game slows down. It doesn't become an up and down game anymore. And I think you need to be able to run a lot of offensive sets in the playoffs. Running up and down and, jacking up threes and all of that, I don't think is a recipe for success. I think you need to have a very good half-court offense to be successful in the playoff because the game slows down. Teams can prepare for you, especially as you go deeper into series. They can game plan. They start to take away things from you, and you need to be able to execute plays. If the first option breaks down, the second option, you need to be able to execute that. That was one of the beauties of the triangle offense. It's one of the hardest offenses to plan for because you're playing out of a format, and then you have a myriad of options that you can go to. So for me, I enjoyed that. I'm tired of seeing the three-point chuckathon where everyone has inflated numbers and everyone looks like they're a great player because of the tempo of the game, and you have so many possessions. So I was happy for that. Another thing I noticed was that the Nuggets are a fantastic half-court offense. And for most of that game, you saw why that they're I believe they're the number 3 seed. Yes, the number 3 seed in the Western Conference. So you saw that they didn't just get there by chance or by fluke. So I enjoyed that. The Nuggets were great at making a lot of cuts. If you see their offense, they have a very polished offense, and all of it starts with their big Jokic, who is an elite passer for his size. He's even a better passer than some guards, man, because the guy can see over the court. He can make some on-the-point passes, and his ability to create opportunities for his teammates, especially out of the double team and in the post, is second to none. He's a fantastic playmaker. So with that allows the Denver Nuggets to be able to control the tempo because they have a post player that can really operate from the post. And for me, it was very impressive to watch. Now, the Clippers didn't run as much in the first half and in the first quarter, and I thought it was a good quarter that was played by both teams. It was in the mid-20s, so for me, I think that's more of a realistic sort of score you want to have in the early quarters of the game. Why? Because if you get into a game where you're dropping 40 points and all that, then the game can quickly get out of hand. The defense, it no longer becomes a defensive struggle. And once that happens, then anything can happen. Bench players can come in and start hitting threes. Sort of what you saw to when the Clippers lost to, I forgot who was they lost to the game before. I think it was the Brooklyn Nets, who the Brooklyn Nets played amazingly well, but there's no way the Clippers should have lost that game if they played the way that they played last night. Now, in the second quarter, both teams had a lot of great defensive intensity. And the Clippers bench was steady. Lou Williams came in, I think in the first half, he had something like 11 points. But the most impressive thing I saw in the first half and all throughout the game was Kawhi Leonard's explosiveness. Kawhi looked fantastic yesterday. And I think if you go and look at the video of him when he played against the Lakers in the bubble, and the start of the bubble, and you look at him last night, he's two different players. Yesterday, he was so explosive. He was very athletic. He was very quick. He was attacking the basket. He was looking to finish over contact, which is something I didn't see in the beginning of the bubble. And for me, that's what I've been looking for. Kawhi can score, but it's how he's scoring and the pressure he's putting on the defense for him to play through contact, put them in foul situations. So for me, I was excited to see that. I would have liked to see Paul George attack the basket a little bit more, but I understand probably why he didn't do that. If you're shooting 50% from the three, I can understand why you also want to stay out on the perimeter. Now, Jokic had a very great first half. They had balanced scoring, and it was good to see. In the third quarter, however, Kawhi Leonard just kicked it into another gear. And at one point, I saw him, I think he posted up, I believe it was Jamal Murray, and Paul George didn't get him the ball, and he was like visually frustrated because it looked like he wanted to go to work and he wanted to attack, which is something I really, really appreciate when he does that, because it's always better when you're aggressive. And Kawhi is one of these players that when he's aggressive, he's not going to take bad shots. He's not going to make ill-advised plays. But when he's aggressive, his offensive awareness goes up. His defensive intensity goes up. If you look at him yesterday, he was playing in the passing lanes. I saw him probably get 2 steals in the passing lane. One of them, he came away with a breakout. It looked like he was going to dunk with his left hand, this southpaw dunks that he did all throughout the regular season, which I didn't see. But he looked like he was playing with a purpose, and I think we were beginning to get a flash of just what Kawhi Leonard is, what type of player he is in the playoffs. He's 2 different players, and I've said this on numerous occasions. The person you saw last night playing with that intensity was playoff Kawhi. He's not the regular season Kawhi, and this is why I keep saying this dude is going to be a monster in the playoffs, man. He's averaging basically 30 in this bubble, and when he gets to these playoffs, he's going to be a monster. Really, he is going to be unstoppable in the playoffs, and you're beginning to see why. In the third quarter, the Clippers, however, began to overwhelm the Nuggets. Paul George hit 3 3-pointers in the third quarter. And I think he left the third quarter, I believe it was, with 18 or 16 points. And then Zubac was very effective all night in the pick and roll. And in the fourth quarter, the Clippers just showed you the difference between the two teams, because in the fourth quarter, that's when they were really able to pull away. And they just took control of the game. And they showed you why they're a better team than the Nuggets. And if they were to meet in the playoffs, I would certainly pick the Clippers to win that game. Now, if we go to win that series, if we go and look at the box score, which I have here, the Nuggets, they had a balanced attack. They had they had about 5 players in double figures, so that was really good. That was really good for them. Jokic finished with 13 assists for a center, 13 assists for a center and 7 rebounds. So he played a fantastic all-around game. Kawhi played 33 minutes, got you 26 points, 3 assists, 5 rebounds. Paul George finished with 27, 4 and 4. Reggie Jackson was steady, got you 10, 4 and 2. Lil Williams came off the bench, got you 23.7 assists and 2 rebounds. So for me, I think the Clippers played a really good game. What I liked the most was Kawhi Leonard's athleticism, his intensity, and his decision to attack and really play with a purpose. I hadn't seen that in him in the bubble. He was playing exactly like that prior to the lockdown because he was gearing up to go into playoff mode. So for me, I think the Clippers are going to be scary when he's playing like this in the playoffs. So what I want to know from you guys is, what are your thoughts and opinions? What are your takeaways from that game? What did you think about the game? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Again, don't forget that we have this. This is going to be on Spotify. We're going to have the link in the description below. So please make sure you guys go and check out this episode on Spotify. And also don't forget to sub, because remember, we're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. And as I said before, we're going to be giving you guys more information as the playoffs roll around as to how we're going to go about creating content around the game. So once again, if you enjoyed this video, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Wishing you guys a great day. This is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Peace.